Hello children, welcome to online video classes. In our last video, we have discussed gymnosperms, wherein we have studied its general characteristics, examples and some pictures related to it. I told you in our next video, I come up with one more group of plants called angiosperms. But I am extremely sorry. According to the new updated syllabus by the PU board, they have been deleted angiosperms. So, with no other choice, I have to skip the angiosperms and should move on with the last part of this chapter. Hence, we'll start with the different life cycles and alternation of generations, what we usually see in the plants. Let us begin with today's class. Remember, usually you are studied that the mitosis and meiosis are the two types of cell division. Remember, mitosis and meiosis are the two types of cell division, wherein mitosis divides the cell into two daughter cells getting the same number of chromosomes. Whereas meiosis divides the parent cell into four daughter cells having reduced number of chromosomes or half the number of chromosomes. For example, if the parent cell is having 2n number of chromosomes, means diploid number of chromosomes, then the parent cell will divide to produce 4 haploid cells, means having half the number of chromosomes compared to the parent cell. Parent cell was having 2n number of chromosomes, but 4 daughter cells produced by the meiosis having n number of chromosomes. Like this, there are two types of division wherein mitosis and meiosis are observed. Mitosis takes place in normal somatic cells where you find 2n number of chromosomes. But usually the meiosis takes place in germ cells or reproductive cells to produce haploid gametes. But plants are very special because in plants you find mitosis is taking place in both haploid cells as well as in diploid cells. Remember, I repeat again, in plants the mitosis takes place in both haploid cells and diploid cells. If mitosis is taking place in haploid cell, means having n number of chromosomes, it will divide to produce again 2 daughter cells having n number of chromosomes. Whereas if mitosis is taking place in a diploid cell, means having 2n number of chromosomes, divides to produce again 2 daughter cells having 2n number of chromosomes. Hence I said, in the plants both haploid cell and diploid cell can undergo mitosis. What happens if the mitosis can take place in both haploid and diploid cell? Because of mitosis, the cell keeps on dividing to increase the number of cells without changing in number of chromosomes. Remember, because of continued mitosis, repeated mitosis, cells will increase in their number, but the number of chromosomes remain same. So hence, haploid cell, if it is undergoing repeated mitotic division, that will leads to the formation of haploid plant body with which is multicellular. If mitosis is taking place in a diploid cell, it will increase in its number, becomes multicellular, and that will develop into diploid plant body. Hence, in the plants, because of mitosis, the haploid cell will divide to produce haploid plant body. Diploid cell will divide to produce diploid plant body. And you people are aware that the haploid cell which is dividing will develop into the haploid plant body, and we call that as haploid plant body as gametophytic plant body. We call that plant body as haploid gametophytic plant body. Remember, you can see the picture where the haploid spores are produced, and those haploid spores are dividing by mitosis to give rise to haploid gametophytic plant body. And remember, the haploid gametophytic plant body is capable of producing gametes. The haploid gametophytic plant body is capable of producing the gametes, which you can see. The haploid gametophytic plant body is producing the gametes, male gamete and female gamete. The gametes produced by the gametophytic plant body, they fuse. Fertilization takes place. So, in the gametophytic plant body, haploid gametes produced fuse with each other. Fertilization takes place to produce the diploid zygote, wherein green colored zygote, one cell what you see, that is a diploid zygote. And you can see that the zygote is undergoing mitosis. That the zygote will undergo mitosis to produce diploid plant body. And you people know that zygote will develop into diploid plant body, and the diploid plant body is called as, yes, sporophytic plant body. Sporophytic plant body, which you can see below, it's green in color. That diploid sporophytic plant body function is to produce haploid spores. To produce haploid spores. In the diploid sporophytic plant body, the cells will undergo meiosis. The cells will undergo meiosis to produce haploid spores. The haploid spores which are produced will again undergo mitosis. They will undergo mitosis to produce haploid gametophytic plant body. This haploid gametophytic plant body is capable of producing the gametes, and these gametes will fuse to form diploid zygote, and this zygote will undergo meiosis to produce a diploid sporophytic plant body. Like this, in most of the or almost all sexually reproducing plants, we can see there is an alternation of generation. There is an alternation of generation wherein the haploid gametophytic plant body produces gametes fuse to form a zygote, and that zygote develops into sporophytic plant body. This diploid sporophytic plant body produces spores which are haploid, and these haploid spores give rise to haploid gametophytic plant body. Like this, haploid gametophytic plant body gives rise to diploid sporophytic plant body by the formation of zygote, and diploid sporophytic plant body give rise to haploid gametophytic plant body by producing haploid spores. This is called as an alternation of generation, which we can see in all the sexually reproducing organisms or plants. Particularly, you can see the alternation of generation in sexually reproducing plants. But however, they differ. The plant groups will differ in showing the alternation of generation. How actually they differ? We'll understand in 3 different life cycles. First one is haplontic life cycle. The first one is haplontic life cycle. Second one is diplontic life cycle. And the third one is haplodiplontic life cycle. Like this, there are 3 different life cycles which we find in sexually reproducing plants. Next, we will start with all the 3 different life cycles with their examples. The first life cycle is haplontic life cycle. The first life cycle is haplontic life cycle, in which we find the sporophytic plant body, that is diploid sporophytic generation or plant body is represented by the single celled zygote. Remember, the sporophytic plant body in the haplontic life cycle is short-lived and it is represented by a single celled zygote. And that single celled zygote, which will undergo meiosis to produce haploid spores. To produce haploid spores, and those haploid spores, you can see they are dividing by mitotic cell division to produce another plant body, that is haploid gametophytic plant body, gives rise to haploid gametophytic plant body. Remember, in the haplontic life cycle, the haploid plant body, that is a gametophytic plant body, is multicellular, free-living and photosynthetic. Remember, usually in the haplontic life cycle, the haploid gametophytic plant body is long-lived, is multicellular, forms the main plant body, and it will be free-living because having the capacity of photosynthesis. This we call it as haplontic life cycle. This is called as a haplontic life cycle, where the diploid sporophytic plant body is a single celled zygote, which is very short lived, immediately undergo meiosis to produce haploid spores by undergoing meiosis. These haploid spores will divide by mitosis to produce a multicellular free-living photosynthetic haploid gametophytic plant body, which we call this type of life cycle as haplontic life cycle. Usually, where you observe the haplontic life cycle? Haplontic life cycle is usually observed in the primitive plant groups like thallophytes, means which have a thalloid plant body like algae. You observe haplontic life cycle in primitive plant groups like algae in some of the species of algae, like in Spirogyra, volvox, and some species of Chlamydomonas show the haplontic life cycle. This is about the haplontic life cycle. Next, we'll move on with the diplontic life cycle. What you observe in diplontic life cycle? In a diplontic life cycle, you can observe the sporophytic plant body is long-lived and it is the dominant plant body. Remember, in diplontic life cycle, the main plant body will be diploid sporophytic plant body, which is free-living photosynthetic, which is free-living and photosynthetic, and sporophytic plant body is long-lived. Remember, it is independent and have the capacity to produce the spores. And the spores which are produced by the sporophytic plant body germinate to give rise to the haploid male and female gametophytic plant body. Give rise to haploid male and female gametophytic plant body. But remember, haploid gametophytic plant body is made up of very few number of cells. It is made up of very few number of cells and it will not be the free living, because it will be depending on the sporophytic plant body. It will be depending on the sporophytic plant body, and this type of life cycle in plants is called as diplontic life cycle. So, where you observe the diplontic life cycle? The diplontic life cycle is usually observed in seed-bearing plants. Remember, the diplontic life cycle is usually observed in seed-bearing plants like gymnosperms and angiosperms. Gymnosperms and angiosperms, which are called as seed-bearing plants, usually show the diplontic life cycle, wherein the main plant body is diploid sporophytic plant body on which the gametophytic plant body is depending. This is all about diplontic life cycle. Next, we'll see the third type of life cycle, that is haplodiplontic life cycle. What you observe in haplodiplontic life cycle and where you usually see the haplodiplontic life cycle? Remember, in haplodiplontic life cycle usually observed in bryophytes and pteridophytes. Haplodiplontic life cycle is usually observed in bryophytes and pteridophytes wherein they show an intermediate condition, not either completely haplontic life cycle or not either completely the diplontic life cycle, but intermediate is observed, hence we call it as haplodiplontic life cycle. Why? Because both the plant body are multicellular. Both the plant bodies in the bryophytes and pteridophytes are multicellular. Then if both are showing haplodiplontic life cycle, then why they are placed in two different groups? Why they are not placed in one group? Of course they show haplodiplontic life cycle, but bryophytes and pteridophytes differ in having which is the main plant body. In having which one? Means whether the sporophytic plant body is dominant or gametophytic plant body is dominant differs in bryophytes and pteridophytes. As you already have studied, in the bryophytes, usually in the bryophytes, the main dominant plant body is gametophytic plant body. Remember, in the bryophytes, the main plant body is haploid gametophytic plant body, which is multicellular, free-living and photosynthetic. Which is multicellular, free-living, photosynthetic, produces gametes. The gametes produced by the gametophytic plant body fuse with each other to form diploid zygote. This diploid zygote will divide by mitosis to develop into multicellular sporophytic plant body. Develops into multicellular sporophytic plant body, which is actually diploid. But remember, the sporophytic plant body produced by the bryophytes is not free-living, even though it is multicellular. The sporophytic plant body in the bryophytes is not free-living, but it remains attached on the gametophytic plant body. Why it is remaining attached on the gametophytic plant body? To extract the nutrition from the gametophytic plant body. Why it extract the nutrition from the gametophytic plant body? Because it does not carry out photosynthesis. Hence, it is depending on the gametophytic plant body. This is about the bryophytes, where it is showing haplodiplontic life cycle, but the main plant body is haploid gametophyte. Next one is pteridophytes. The pteridophytes also show haplodiplontic life cycle. Even though they show haplodiplontic life cycle, in pteridophytes the main plant body is diploid sporophytic plant body. Diploid sporophytic plant body is the main plant body in the pteridophytes, which produce haploid spores. The haploid spores are produced by the sporophytic plant body by undergoing meiosis. The cells of sporophytic plant body divide by meiosis, produce haploid spores, and these haploid spores germinate and give rise to multicellular free-living haploid gametophytic plant body. Free-living, I said, means it is not depending on the sporophytic plant body. Then how it gets nourishment? Remember, the gametophytic plant body, which is not depending on the sporophytic plant body of pteridophytes, because it may be either photosynthetic or sometimes it is even saprophytic. Saprophytic means it may get the nourishment or get the nutrients from the dead and decaying organic matter. Hence, in the pteridophytes, even though the main plant body is sporophytic plant body which produces gametophytic plant body, that gametophytic plant body is not depending on the sporophytic plant body, but it is free living, produces gametes. Those gametes are fused to produce a diploid zygote, and those zygote will develop into diploid sporophytic plant body. Like this, you can see both, remember, both the bryophytes and pteridophytes will show the haplodiplontic life cycle, where you can see an intermediate phase, means both are showing both the phases which are multicellular, but they both differ in having the main plant body. Means bryophytes are having haploid gametophytic plant body as a main plant body, whereas diploid sporophytic plant body is found in pteridophytes. This is about all the three life cycles, and you have to practice all the three life cycles which are important either for 2 or 3 months. Let us take one example again. Remember, usually there are 3 life cycles. First one is haplontic life cycle, which is usually observed in lower plants like algae, like volvox, Spirogyra and Chlamydomonas. You can see the haplontic life cycle is observed in volvox, Spirogyra and a few species of Chlamydomonas. And the second one is diplontic life cycle, where you observe diplontic life cycle. As I told you, in seed-bearing plants like gymnosperms, angiosperms and one of the algae called fucus. Remember, the diplontic life cycle is observed in seed-bearing plants like gymnosperms, angiosperms and fucus are the different organisms which show diplontic life cycle. What about haplodiplontic life cycle? It is observed in bryophytes, pteridophytes, kelps, Polysiphonia and Ectocarpus. Remember, haplodiplontic life cycle is observed in, as usual, bryophytes and pteridophytes, along with you can observe in some of the algae like kelps, Ectocarpus and Polysiphonia. With this, we came to an end of the chapter, the plant kingdom. wherein we have discussed all the different groups of plants including algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms. But sorry, I have excluded angiosperms because of the deletion of that particular part. And today I have ended with the different life cycles observed in the plants. Hope you all have understood the complete chapter and enjoyed the classes. Thank you for watching all my videos and understanding the chapter Plant Kingdom. Thank you so much, children. God bless you.